I doubt that there is a more iconic handgun than a revolver. You can see cowboys, police officers, gangsters, and even sci-fi smugglers use them. And I bet you wanted one of your GURPS characters to use one. So let's check out how revolvers work in GURPS and how they are different from other pistols. The main feature of the revolvers is their revolving cylinder, but the so-called pepper boxes instead use a cluster of rotating barrels. They are still classified as revolvers. There are different types of trigger mechanisms, single action, double action only. And there are also several different types of loading schemes: muzzle loaders, side gate, break open, and swing out. All these combinations are not just for flavor, they make the gun work differently, sometimes opening up unique options that are not available to common pistols. GURPS High-Tech says that revolvers first appear on TL4 and are matchlocks, but does not provide any stats for such weapons. Neither does GURPS Low-Tech, so these early revolvers are a mystery to me. Let's talk about the loading schemes first to get that out of the way. If you check the revolver table, you will see the I in the shots column, which means that you have to reload each chamber or barrel individually. The time it takes to reload your revolver depends on the scheme and on some individual special features. But before I do that, I have to tell you, check the errata. Depending on the printing of your book, this table might have wrong reload times, many of them. This even applies to GURPS High-Tech weapon tables. It did not incorporate this errata. I will show you on the screen what the table should look like with errata applied. A muzzle-loading smooth-bore revolver with flintlock or caplock action takes 20 seconds per chamber to reload. Fast-draw ammo reduces this to 16 per chamber. Let's find such a gun on the table. Do you see a 20-second reload time anywhere? I don't. But let's read the description of Allen Pepper Box. It does say smooth-bore. And it is a caplock muzzle loader, so what's going on here? The answer lies in another book, GURPS High-Tech Adventure Guns, that features some of the guns already described in GURPS High-Tech and many more. For this particular case, the Allen Pepper Box stat line is different. The weight of one full reload is slightly higher, and the reload time is actually 20 seconds per chamber now. Let's consider this a second layer of errata. I will mark all the changes I have found in blue. A muzzle-loading rifled revolver with flintlock or caplock action takes 30 seconds per chamber, and fast-draw ammo reduces this to 24 per chamber. And now that we have incorporated changes from GURPS High-Tech Adventure Guns, we see that there are no such guns anymore. Not in High-Tech, not in Adventure Guns, and not even in the Pulp Guns. Weird. For a gate-loading revolver, it takes one ready maneuver to open the loading gate, one to push each empty case through the gate using an ejector rod. Weapons without an ejector rod require at least 2 seconds per case, one to retrieve each new cartridge, one to insert each round, and one to close the gate. A successful fast-draw ammo roll reduces this time by a second per cartridge. For a break-open revolver with ejector, it takes one ready maneuver to open the breech, which automatically ejects all cases, one to retrieve each new cartridge, one to insert each round, and one to close the gun. A successful fast-draw ammo roll reduces this time by a second per cartridge. Using a speed loader shortens this procedure to 5 ready maneuvers, one to open the gun, one to retrieve the speed loader, one to insert the cartridges, one to release them, and one to close the gun. Fast-draw ammo cuts this time to just 3 seconds. For a swing-out revolver, it takes one ready maneuver to swing out the cylinder, one to manually eject all cases at once, one to retrieve each new cartridge, one to insert each round, and one to close the cylinder. A successful fast-draw ammo roll reduces this time by a second per cartridge. Using a speed loader simplifies this procedure to 6 ready maneuvers, one to swing out the cylinder, one to eject the cases, one to retrieve the speed loader, one to insert the cartridges, one to release them and one to close the gun. Fast draw ammo cuts this time to 4 seconds. Okay, that sounds more or less clear, but if you look at the weapons table again, things become confusing again. Or maybe I'm just dumb. For example, let's take Smith & Wesson Model 27, that according to the table takes 3 seconds per cartridge to reload. According to the description, this is a swing-out cylinder revolver. You take a ready maneuver to swing out the cylinder, another one to eject all the cases at once, and then each cartridge takes 2 ready maneuvers to load, and then you close the cylinder with another ready maneuver. Where does 3i come from? That sounds closer to 2i to me. And the same applies to almost every single entry, excluding the muzzle loaders. Some revolver models also require you to actually detach the cylinder itself, and that takes 10 or 15 seconds depending on the gun in question. So my suggestion would be to simply ignore the numbers on the table and use the numbers found in the loading mechanism descriptions, because that makes more sense and is consistent. This is making my head hurt. But enough about that. There is another important division, single action and double action. Some revolvers can only fire in single action mode, some can only fire in the double action mode, and some support both options. What's the difference? First of all, if you fire in double action mode, your aimed shots suffer -1 to accuracy. However, you can cock your weapon before firing, allowing a more accurate first shot in single action mode. If your gun can only fire in this mode, then this penalty is already included in its accuracy stat. Second, depending on the trigger mechanism, you get access to different options to increase your rate of fire. You can find rules for that in GURPS High-Tech, GURPS Gun-Fu, and GURPS Tactical Shooting. And as far as I know, the tactical shooting rules are the most recent one. If you have a double action revolver, then you can use fast firing to increase the rate of fire up to 3 times. If you have a single action revolver, you can use fanning to increase the rate of fire to up to 5 and look cool in the process, or thumbing or two-handed thumbing to have a weaker increase but easier and safer one. All these flashy options can be improved with techniques. Finally, there are some extra rules that you might want to know. According to GURPS High-Tech, almost all TL5 revolvers are unsafe and can easily discharge accidentally if carried loaded. This is why some gunfighters sometimes kept an empty chamber. GURPS High-Tech adventure guns introduce another rule, chain fire. Some cap-lock revolvers are prone to this. On an 18 on an attack roll, some adjacent chambers may discharge, possibly causing a chain reaction. You determine the number of discharges randomly. It will increase your effective rate of fire, but you might also hit the wrong target. And if you are using anything but a pepperbox revolver, you might also damage the gun itself this way. GURPS High-Tech Pulp Guns Volume 1 also has the hammerless handguns box on page 8. This one has a special rule for those who like extreme levels of detail. Handguns with hammers, of course including revolvers, give -1 to fast draw, and if you roll a critical fast draw failure when drawing such a gun from a pocket, that's another -3 to fast draw by the way, then the hammer rips the pocket liner and takes 1d+1 seconds to be extracted. Also, it is not said anywhere, but I think common sense suggests that it is impossible to use fanning or thumbing with a hammerless revolver. GURPS Basic Set hides another special rule for revolvers in the malfunctions section. If your revolver malfunctions and you roll a misfire, the next shot will fire normally. That's a pretty good upside. Where can you find revolver stats? Of course, GURPS High-Tech. The 2 companion books, GURPS High-Tech Adventure Guns and GURPS High-Tech Pulp Guns Volume 1, contain many more examples. But I would like to tell you about some special guns that stand out. First, GURPS High-Tech has an automatic revolver. Yes, they do exist. And GURPS High-Tech Adventure Guns also has revolver rifles and shotguns. That's very cool. However, due to being prone to chain fire, you risk blowing off your hand. Aside from that, there is also a couple of TL9 Ultratech revolvers in Pyramid 337. Speaking of Pyramid 337, it also has the beam weapons design article. What if I made a laser revolver, or even better, a plasma revolver, that houses a small power cell in each chamber that is discharged in a single shot? That would be stylish, but also would prevent hot shots, as that would be effectively a Gatling beam weapon. Let me try. So I played around with the design system and got a laser revolver and a plasma revolver, and I really like them. The plasma revolver, unlike its laser counterpart, can fire hot shots because plasma weapons work differently. Anyway, I hope I made it clear how revolvers work in GURPS, but if I did not, I do not blame you. They are not very straightforward. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.